everyone, my name is Andres Diaz. Me and Will are back today for another What If. Actually, the series finale of What If. So yeah. So anyway, Will, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, very good. Been great week, and had a chance to watch this finale, and I say overall it was a good finale. What do you think?
Yeah, it was all right. Um, I mean, you know how I've been feeling about this show, so
Yes,
it
I
wasn't like the best thing ever, but it did all right. It wrapped things up.
Yeah, nicely. I mean, it wrapped every storyline that was like in the first season. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess we can um get through like the major story points. Particularly Ultron. I guess did you like the way they defeated Ultron in this episode?
Yeah, I liked that they didn't actually have a they didn't like beat him. They just kind of like tricked him and then suspended him in that pocket dimension. I think that was a good
Yes.
solution.
Yeah. I I totally forgot about Simo. Or Sola.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Zola, yeah.
Yeah. I it was actually neat that they actually able to put Sola into Ultron's mind, and
Hmm.
so yes, it was pretty awesome to see him again in this episode,
Hmm.
and also just Killmonger as well. Just him doing kind of like the man Neo thing towards the end. Like
Hmm.
obviously like X2 and Days of Future Past, he always turns his back against the X-Men. And here, Killmonger turning against them was like, yeah, a very obviously thing when he saw the Ultron head in the dimension bar.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of cool. It was very cool. Yeah, I agree. I think I like the way Ultron was defeated and that whole I would say this was a very great action packed episode. I think it
Mhm.
was very creative, and
Yeah.
I think they definitely step up their game for this episode to give us a good action packed finale.
Hmm.
Um, I guess the thing I will say is that I really like the Watcher was in more of this episode, and I like how he recruited the Guardians of the Multiverse. Um, and this lineup was pretty interesting. Like I like Strange Supreme, Captain Carter, Star Lord T'Challa, Party Thor, and Black Panther, Killmonger, and Gamora. Okay, I guess my nitpick is we got Gamora towards the end of this episode. Toward this episode, I'm surprised they didn't give her like a standalone episode.
Yeah, I think what I've heard is that the this season was supposed to be 10 episodes long,
Oh,
and then they uh, ran into an issue with the production time, so they cut it to 9. But the Gamora episode was going to be in it, and they've moved it to season 2.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but I
Because
agree. It would have helped if we had Gamora's story as well, because she felt kind of tacked on.
yeah, because she was in like she's in the marketing and
Right.
and we saw her in the clips in
Mm.
the opening, and I was like, when are we gonna get her? You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, because I feel like her story is kind of interesting. And she was with Tony in that like other version being the spacesuit. It's
Hmm.
kind of interesting, um, but yeah, very weird. I would say that was definitely my most disappointing in this episode. Is this not going to get a variant Gamora? And like I feel like they shouldn't have the 10 episode, and we'll discuss like later on our like overall thoughts of the series because I feel like they needed more time for their overall series arc. And
Hmm.
so, but yeah, I mean, besides that, I think this episode did a really good job on showing um, the multiverse, and I think they did a really good job of tying things up. Uh, the whole Eagle thing with Star Lord was just a quick thing. Um,
Hmm.
that's another thing that was maybe disappointing. Is wow, I thought they were going to do something for maybe the next season, but they didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, what was your favorite character in this episode? I'm kind of curious. Who was like the MVP of this episode?
I don't know. I guess either Doctor Strange or Natasha.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Strange. I think Strange was the most fun character here because he did a lot of cool tricks. And I love his like Super Saiyan form with all the creatures he absorbed from his first episode. So it was very cool to see this squid thing. And yeah, yeah. And actually, I speaking of last episode and this episode, I hope they do this in the live action films. Having him talk to the Watcher, I really like their relationship.
Yeah.
I really like that because I like their their conversation and just overall like they remind me of Tony and Stark, and so or Strange and his H1, and so I kind of like the Watcher's relationship with Strange.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the best thing about this is those relationship. So it's very cool. And then I guess oh, and then also this is the last episode of Chadwick Boseman, which is kind of sad. But I like he had a lot of things to do here. I like his was it his interaction with Captain Carter. That was also pretty neat. I wish he was alive. I really want to see him in live action to interact with that version of that character. But yeah, but unfortunately, so it's good that he was here, and I really like his presence in this episode, and I think they you mentioned you heard about the episode count. I heard they were supposed to make a spin-off show for him. I don't know if you heard that.
No, I haven't heard that.
Yes. So it was interesting. They say that they were supposed to make a Star-Lord T'Challa spin-off show. That'd be kind of cool because I think his episode was my favorite. It's still my second favorite after the Strange one. And so, I mean, they couldn't. Like, can they do it? Like,
I feel like they won't. I feel like they're just gonna retire T'Challa as a character.
Yeah. And then they mentioned they're gonna live in limbo after his death. So, that's a shame because I think because that his episode and just overall Chadwick's performance of this version of T'Challa was great. I think he was like the standout character.
Yeah. I really wish we could have seen more of Chadwick as T'Challa.
Yeah. And just imagine, the what ifs of, Black Panther in space, it's just so many great opportunities. I know you don't like some of the decisions they made in that episode, but I like some of their decisions in that episode of his solo one. Yeah. And I guess you mentioned Supreme, Strange, Natasha from the Ultron episode here was also great. I actually really like Bale. I think this was her best performance. I think she really like step up her performance here in this episode, and just overall, I like the interaction with Captain Carter. Like, I actually like that we went with the Captain Carter. Like, what if in the Winter Soldier? I actually love her suit in the Winter Soldier, Captain Carter.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it looked pretty good on her, and when we saw her doing the opening scene in Winter Soldier, it was really great. Yeah. What else? I guess. Is there anything else? I'm forgetting that was like a standout for you.
I don't know.
Yeah. it's kind of vanilla, right? It's like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I mean, nothing about it was like I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah. Oh dear.
But
Well, I think. You know what, thank goodness I saw Venom too. I'll tell you all the crazy things that happened in that movie. But yeah. Um, yeah. This is. I guess. I mean, everyone knows what happened to this episode, so I mean, it's pretty. I mean, some of the references are pretty obvious and stuff like that. Oh, we got our zombies again, and it was kind of cool to see zombie Wanda attacking
Mhm.
Ultron. That was
Yeah.
actually a neat way to tie back to that episode. That was really cool for
Mhm.
Strange Supreme. Um, yeah. Okay, I guess we can like um overall. Well, what's your like just overall thoughts of the series from episode 1 to 9? What was the best thing about the series, but also what was the worst thing about the series? Can you talk about that?
Oh man. The best thing was the Doctor Strange episode,
Okay.
I think, and like watching the Watcher get more and more like invested in the stories as time went on, and more like willing to interfere. I think that was
Yes.
well done, but I everything else about the show just did not land with me.
I see.
Especially just the writing, like the pacing was weird, the dialogue was bad, all the attempts at humor were
We're
they were
just
rough.
yeah.
I just really this is the first thing that Marvel Studios has made that I just did not like. Um,
Yeah. Is it worse than Thor: The Dark World?
oh, absolutely, yeah. Thor: The Dark World isn't bad. It's just okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
This is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, what did you think of it? Like, I'm hoping you enjoyed it at least. So like, someone
Well,
did.
I think I'm like with you. I agree with your statements. Like, okay, like let me go to my worst thing. My worst thing is that they didn't have a fully completed vision of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they needed a more like a. I think need to like I don't know what's going on with animation now with their like runtime and TV shows because I mean mostly I haven't watched cartoons. I just been watching old cartoons from the past, right?
Yeah.
I think they needed to have more of an experienced team from a from a previous Disney animation to work on this series and really hone into those strategies and set skills that is important to make these shows good.
Yeah.
Because it's different from live action, right? From television and movies. And I like the idea of like a connective universe setup. Like they were trying to do the Phase One Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the way they did it was very sloppy, and
Mm-hmm.
I, because like the beginning was rough, and then the first 3 episodes from 2 to 4 were very interesting. I enjoyed those. I think those are the highlights of the series. But it wasn't enough, I think, to convince people to like the series. But then we went to episode 5. That's where it kind of goes downhill. Like because that was the episode I was very cold, and then 6 was good. Killmonger, but then 7 was awful, and then when we got to 8, it was like okay, interesting. And then here, the finale, I was satisfied, but like it was kind of like oh now we need to do this multiverse Avengers, and I feel like they should have done something um, to like set that up more effectively than just like oh here we're gonna do this like, version of the Avengers slash Guardians, right? But yeah, I think they didn't have a clear and vision for the show, and I feel like it frustrated me for the most of this whole series. The
Yeah.
best thing is not really the show; is about this character. I think they did the best. They definitely depicted the Watcher as perfect as possible. I think it's kind of ironic. Before we recorded, I mentioned No Time to Die, and of course Jeffrey Wright is Felix Leiter in that, and did the correct films. Man, Jeffrey Wright is amazing. He's a great actor, and I
He
love
really
him.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him as the Watcher, and it was great to hear him again after the day of seeing No Time to Die because something happened to his character, which I'm not going to spoil, but um, so I think he was the perfect casting for the Watcher, and I really love the Watcher here. I think he had the most clear direction, and I actually like the arc they gave him here. Like towards the end of the episode here, I like his quote that every now the multiverse is safe, and like he watches every multiverse stories, and then this is his home. Like the multiverse is his home. I really dug that line he delivered, and it shows how yes he cannot interfere, but like at the same time he did interfere because this is his home. The whole multiverse is his home, and so like it was kind of cool. And I kind of wish maybe that should be the forefront of the series. Like his arc of like he cannot interfere, but at the same time we discover in the last few episodes the multiverse is his home, because I don't know where the Watchers live. I mean, we saw them in Volume 2 in some planet, but we don't know that is their home. But yeah. And I think that was the best thing about the show was the way they handled the Watcher, because I feel like sometimes they never, because the worst thing about the show, the other worst thing was the way they handled characters and their depictions were okay. Like I still don't like Party Thor. I just think it's overrated, and I just wanted a classic Thor from the comics. And like I don't know how Loki is the only one who get it right, and like we got a classic Loki from the Loki series. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I guess any thoughts for the series? That's all you have.
Yeah, I was really disappointed by it.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to a season 2. Like, I don't really want to watch it.
I think we should do is
Yep. No, you go.
Oh no. Yeah. I think what we should do is just make a full podcast of all the 9 episodes of What If season 2. Just instead of doing the weekly.
Okay.
So I think because I agree with you. I don't want to like do that again with the series because it was really tough in the last couple of weeks of just having a conversation with the series. It's like it wasn't like the live action shows, where we actually had something to talk about, and just, it was pretty rough. I agree.
Yeah.
So, anything else? Any thoughts before I go into another topic that I'm going to talk to you about?
No, I think I'm done.
Okay. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the What If series finale. Me and Will, of course, will discuss season 2 and just a full podcast instead of the weekly. So now for this section, I will highly recommend you guys to just leave this podcast now, because me or myself is going to talk to Will about Venom 2, the There Be Carnage. So it's going to be a spoiler talk. So here we go. Okay. Drum roll, please. Venom 2. Let there be spoiler talk and blah blah blah. It's a horrible movie. Anyway.
Okay.
Well, how you doing, buddy?
All right.
So, well, I question. I guess you mentioned you haven't seen the first film.
Right.
You saved yourself, actually.
Yeah. No, it looked bad, so I didn't want to see it.
You're lucky because I saw it in the theaters with my friend. Okay, um, okay, um, so my overall thoughts for the first film before getting to the second film. The first film is okay. It's not like it's not like the worst thing in a superhero film we've seen, but
Mhm.
like like it's the room of the superhero films. That's how I can tell you.
Pretty rough. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, because it's like that. Um, like you know how the room is bad, but like it's adorable to watch. You
Yeah,
know,
like it's so bad, it's fun.
yes, and like because mostly Tommy Wiseau, who is
Yeah.
this crazy enigma character. That's
Hmm.
what Tom Harley is in this series.
Okay.
Yes, so um, it it's insane, and and that's the reason that he spends. This is why I think the series has been successful compared to other horrible films because sometimes the actor doesn't do a good performance in these films because they
Hmm.
know they're in a bad film.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy doesn't do that. Like he actually commits and like he brings it all like A+, like 100% performance, than just like phoning in and like just like be miserable in the screen. He's like the saving grace of the series, and he's actually really good in this sequel.
Okay.
Um, so now after covering the first film, the sequel is a marginally improvement of the predecessor. They got rid of the things that I didn't like about the first film, and like they doubled down on things that was like the things that people like reacted positively. So in this case, they focus more on the Venom and Brock relationship, and in this sequel, and and the thing about this movie that's kind of crazy. This movie is like 97 minutes long. So you don't have this kind of typical superhero thing of like it's 2 hours or 40 minutes or 30 seconds long,
Yeah.
like Black Widow or Shang-Chi we had. Um, so it's this very, like, it does this very fast pace of a thing. And so that's good. So you don't have to stay long for this film. Um, it doesn't like it doesn't overblow you with plot points or characters, which is something that's going to be like a hit and miss. Like when you expand your universe and the franchise, you always cram in plot points or like characters that you will
Hmm.
like or not, right? This
Right.
film, like, right, this film doesn't really do that. Like they keep like core characters from the first film, and then the only new things we got was just the villains and then this one character that they're setting up for the sequel, and that's it. So that's a
Okay.
good thing. So they and speaking of, if we get into like filmmaking, they have a new director here. It wasn't the Zombieland director because he was too busy directing the sequel for Zombieland 2.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this one was directed by Andy Serkis.
Right.
Yes, and I think he was a good pick. I think he uh, speaking of performance, like because he did motion capture and like he had to like act with people or sometimes without people. He really delivers on his experience of this big budget, motion capture, effects heavy to
Hmm.
this film, and you see that through like this film feels more organically like real in reality compared to the first film, because the first film was like, I mean, like like the whole ending of that film was horrible. It was like CGI fest, and like
Hmm.
because that film had the villain Riot that had was another symbiote, and and I want to get to like my bad things, what was this it involves with Carnage, but here Circus and the team did a really good job of giving me environments and locations that like were like for me easy to understand what was going on, and and overall, I was happy this film didn't went overboard. Like it didn't do the big, like like Dark Knight when they went bigger. Here they
Hmm.
keep everything small. Like it was a much smaller film, and like they were trying to be like a more thematical film. Like this film was all about friendship. Like it was about relationship. Like it was about Brock and his relationship with Venom, and Carnage with Shriek. Um, and then of course Venom and Brock's relationship with Anne, this ex-girlfriend that's played by Michelle Williams. Like overall, it's a much better is improvement over the predecessor from 2018, and that's not saying much. There's still things I don't like about this film. Um, but yeah, any questions you have for me? Well, that some people tell you about this film, and blah blah.
I mean, I heard about the post credit scene.
Okay. Um. Okay. Yeah, we have a post credit scene. This one. And by the way, folks, this is War Talk. If you don't want to hear about the post credit scene, just leave and come back later. Um. Okay. So obviously, Sony is always trying to get Spider-Man in one of these films, right? Or trying to get their franchise to be in the MCU for some reason. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Um. So the post credit scene is Venom. Well, towards the end of this movie, Venom and Brock are on the run because they've been too much like connected to this conspiracy of crimes that's happened the last 3 years. Revolving with the billionaire villain from the last film, and then here with Carnage and Shriek. So they on the run, and they were in some Hawaii or China country, whatever. And Brock and Eddie have this conversation, and like um Venom was talking to Brock, and he was telling him that he has some other tricks that he hasn't shown Eddie. And then there was this like moment, it's like, okay, let me show you. And then all of a sudden there's like this light beam coming in, and their whole room got changed. And then he was asking Venom, was like, "Oh, you did this?" And he said, like, "No, I didn't have anything to do with this." And so, okay, afterwards, he Venom, like, of course, Venom gets out of Brock's body to form his own body, right?
Hmm.
And then the TV's there, and you hear Joe Jameson, Joe
Yeah,
Jamison.
JJJ.
Yeah, JJ. Yeah, thank you. Um, of the TV, which this is connected to what happened in Spider-Man Far From Home, where he was Pierce's identity was revealed, and so you see that, and then you see the image of Tom Holland without his mask. So this is connected to Spider-Man No Way Home, and then Venom is there. He's talking, and like he licks the TV, and then we cut to like a comedic scene where the guy comes out of the bathroom of this room that they kind of went into the dimension. And then Eddie was like is back again on the human form, and then cut. That's the post credit scene. So yeah, so I will be honest with you. I don't know what that means. It means it could be that's Venom 3, that Venom is going to go against Spider-Man, which I don't know how. Like that's just weird for me, because Venom is the hero here, despite he kills people. But whatever. I mean, this is just their series. There, or this is connected to Spider-Man No Way Home, that's coming out December. And then that's kind of cool to see Venom to be in that series. Yeah, that I mean, I was with my movie bud Kristen and my childhood friend Chris, and a lot of the people in my theater reacted positively because it's Tom Holland Spider-Man. The implication is exciting, but like I'm not excited for that because I don't know if they're like is that for that film coming out for December, or is it just for Venom 3? Which I don't want that to be Venom 3 because I don't trust Sony
Yeah.
to give me a very satisfying film for Spider-Man and Venom. If you
Mhm.
like the Venom Spider-Man relationship, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be the Sony movie.
Okay, so you think it's the Sony movie?
Yeah, I think what they're setting up is because the multiverse is open, Tom
Mhm.
Holland's Peter Parker can just kind of jump between the two different universes.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, and it's kind of funny. Like the Sony successfully got this. Like they won
Mm-hmm.
with the Battle of Spider-Man because you remember well that like was it 2 years ago? There was a moment where that Marvel Studios didn't have Spider-Man because the contract was up from the five picture deal.
Yeah.
And then of course they re-signed that after a month after that happened. And I can't believe Sony can actually pull this off. I mean, Sony. Let me say this: Sony Pictures are not a bad movie studio. They do produce great films. I mean, they.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bond.
they did. Yeah, Bond. I mean, Skyfall.
Right.
And,
They were.
The new film No Time to Die is not with Sony because they're
Right. It got sold to Amazon or at MGM, which is now owned by Amazon, right?
yeah. Well, before that that deal,
Mhm.
they had like a contract with Sony for like this amount of time, and
Okay.
they got expired when Spectre happened. So,
Okay.
yeah, a little tip of that. Yeah, they did Bond with Craig. They did Baby Driver, which is an amazing film for Edgar Wright.
I like that movie.
Oh my god! Like, I don't know. You seen this film, Little Woman? The 2019 film with.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah, I saw it actually recently twice. I've seen it a couple of times. Amazing film. Great cast. I mean, Florence Pugh from Black Widow, the blonde,
Right.
is there. She's
Bob
amazing.
Odenkirk's in that too, right?
Yes, he's there as well. Oh my god, he's great. Oh my god. Yeah, and yeah, they I mean, they did good movies, and of course, the Rock, Kara Hart, Jack Black, Jumanji films. They're fun as well.
Mhm.
So they do a good job of making films. It's just when they deal with franchises where they make missteps, and I don't like that.
Mhm.
Like I like the Man in Black series, but like that series is completely misdirected, and like they don't take the potential of the franchise there. And of course, Spider-Man, they struggle sometimes with Spider-Man, and it frustrates me the most. Yeah, and they did a good job with Venom too. Let me get into negatives about this film. And by the way, you don't have to see the first film to see this film.
Okay.
The only thing you need to know about this film is just I guess the negative is you have to see the film because there's the Anne Michelle Williams character is from the first film, and they carry over some of the plot points, like their weird relationship. Like it's a weird relationship with those two, because like Brock is not a really good guy. Like he costs her job. He costs his ex-girlfriend from the first film lose her job in this prestige firm, and like I don't know how she's still connected with him after the first film, after the crazy mess he did. Anyway, okay, let me get villains. It was cool to see Carnage. He looked like Carnage. The effects here were okay. The I wasn't really fun with this performance of Carnage. Woody Harrelson is a great actor, but he wasn't a great villain. He was a better villain over the first film. That was a Raisin Man, who was he's a Oscar nominated actor. He was in Rogue One, which I like, one of my favorite Star Wars films. I he was horrible in the first film, Venom. Like he was just this typical like business villain with he had like the the Thanos thing, like, oh, I need to eradicate this population, and like it was this whole Earth thing, and it was horrible. Like,
Yeah.
and Riot was horrible as well. Like he was just a gray Venom, really, and like he did the same thing what Carnage done in the comics. So it was weird that they did Carnage in this film. It's like, why couldn't you do Carnage in the first film? I, you remember was it in episode 7? You mentioned the villain problem. It's exactly like this in the film series here, and I will get to this one character they're setting up that is just another symbiote villain, and it's like, you know who I'm talking about for the next symbiote villain.
I think you mentioned them before. You said was it Riot or
no,
was the first one.
Yeah. You know who was the third one that we got after Carnage in the 2000s?
Toxin.
Yes.
Okay.
That character was here. Pure. Was it? Oh no, Patrick Mulligan. He's like a detective. So he's like he's a character here in this film where he's trying to find the victims of Kasady's murder spree he's done before. So he's working with Brock, but he doesn't trust Brock because of his him getting access with the serial killer, Kasady, and then also like he was connected to the events of the first film that like the FBI is investigating, and then like all of a sudden Shriek, because Shriek caused Patrick to lose like hearing. He has a hearing aid in his left ear.
Okay.
If you see the film, it's right there, and so, and then he supposedly died from Shriek, like he got strangled, but then his eyes turned to like this like bluish black kind of like alien, which indicates that he's going to become Toxin maybe in the next film. Yeah, so he's here, and so oh my god, like again another symbiote. Like I don't know too much about Toxin. So like, is there any special abilities he have like as a symbiote? I mean,
I don't really know that much about the symbiotes other than Venom. So
okay, well, good news. They don't really know what they're gonna do with the symbiotes. They completely are inconsistent what the symbiote does. Well, you can't believe it. Like there was a scene where Carnage, goes into this gas station. He beats up this guy. And it's like bam, 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 and like this violent thing, blah blah blah, right? And like he goes to this computer to find his girlfriend, Kasady's girlfriend, Shriek. And he's like, "Oh, can you access the internet?" And first off, that's not what a symbiote does. They're not. It cannot get access to technology. It's the classic thing of, oh, they're just making up things about the symbiotes in this moment because they need to forward the plot.
Whatever's convenient.
Yes, so convenient. And that moment, I was like, oh my god, it was just so ridiculous. It's like, oh my god. Anyway, so by the way, having two villains. I mentioned Carnage and Shriek. Shriek gets underdeveloped. She's like so underutilized in this film. Like I love this actress, Naomie Harris. She's a great actress. She's of course the new Moneypenny from the Daniel Craig films, and I love her because she's in 28 Days Later, my favorite film of all time. Well, anyway, great actress. She is completely wasted in this film. Like, and it's like and Carnage, which I think is a step up villain, but it was nothing special about Carnage here. Like, because you already know the symbiote from the first film, and you saw all the things that Carnage does was from the villain you saw from Riot from the first film. So nothing new about this Carnage is really special. And the thing that made Carnage interesting from the comics and even the 90s show was him and Carnage, the symbiote, were like compatible, Here, they did the opposite of that, where Kasady and the Carnage symbiote weren't compatible because of the Shriek thing. That's where the friendship and relationship comes into the in the film.
Mm.
And it's okay, but like it's just this more like annoyance, and like it's just like a typical way of creating conflict, and it's not good, you know.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, and because Shriek has the sonic, like she has sonic powers, and like sound hurts the symbiotes, and every time she does it, Carnage tries to cover cover her mouth because it kills them, you know. Oh my god. Yeah. So the villains were better, but it's still overwhelming, and it's like, ugh, just it just and there was just like plot points that were missing in this film that like I don't need these movies to be long, you know,
Mm.
but like you do need like a cohesive plot in film that I can follow. Like the stuff with Patrick and the police investigation feels like very choppy, and like there was something missing.
Mm.
But like it doesn't. This film doesn't have like the Suicide Squad, the 2016 film problem, or Fantastic problem. It's just there's something missing, and I don't know, like if they just cut it because of timing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really um um okay. I've been mentioning Michelle Williams, and then do you know this actor Reid Scott? Um,
I don't think so.
okay, he played a character named Dan Egan from HBO's
Oh,
Beef.
yes. Okay. Yeah, I looked
He's
him up. Yeah, I know Veep. So.
okay, so he's in this film. He's Anne's like new boyfriend, fiance from the 1st
Mhm.
film. They get married in this film, and it's a funny gag with Venom. He's like, "No, it was supposed to be us." And you see in the trailer, he slaps
Mhm.
him in the car, and then of course I love the line, "Oh, they need couple therapy." That was funny.
Mhm.
He's Dr. Dan Lewis. Um, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like these film series are trying to pick him as like like the classic '90s like Santa Claus, like, oh, he's this very douche guy,
Mhm.
which he isn't. And I don't know, it's really weird. They Michelle Williams and Scott are also underutilized. They they come like halfway into the film, like almost towards the end, and it's like I don't know why they're here, but like they're and Michelle Williams, she's a great actress. She's just a dental stress towards the end, and it's just, oh, okay. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's Venom 2. Other questions that like do you have other questions, Will, about this film? Like, what area do you want me to cover? That
I don't know. I think I'm set. I know to avoid it, I guess.
yeah. Well, I will say, I guess to wrap things up with this film, it's better than the first film. The first film, like I mentioned, how the Venom is the room of superhero films.
Mhm.
Now, now, when I say that, it's the scenes with Tom Harley, Tom Harley's
Yeah.
Eddie, when he does weird things. But
Mhm.
the worst thing about the first film is when they got into the superhero things. That's where I don't like the film.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Now, with this film, Venom 2, they actually improve things. Like, they don't do the superhero things. Like, they keep it as this like rom-com, like B movie level.
Mhm.
And that's way better. And I did fairly enjoy this film, but like it was kind of like and by the way, folks, I'm blinking certain jokes and things because I was very sick that day. Actually, my allergies were horrible. Though I I fell asleep a little bit towards the beginning,
Mm.
because my allergies were so bad. And so, but I saw like the whole half the film, and like it was. I saw the point when Cassie became Carnage. That was where I was up,
Hmm.
so the whole thing, and those were the best moments. The whole investigation of like finding the bodies of the Cassie victims was okay. It wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't like your famous like crime drama like or like Unforgotten or like Law and Order, or I don't know, or Broadchurch. It wasn't like that. It was just like this typical thing of like, oh, the villain is telling this guy, oh, here, sending these weird clues. And what's funny? Um,
Hmm.
Eddie is the worst journalism person ever. Venom is actually the best detective. Like Venom, it's just funny. Like Venom is the most like lively, smartest alien I ever seen in movie history. Like like Eddie is the most worst journalist. Like he doesn't do his job right, and like Venom gives him like, oh hey dude, this there were drawings in the wall, right, in his cell on Cassie, and Venom knows that, and like it's this is a funny scene. He doodles like what was on it, and he was showing it to Eddie, but Eddie didn't understand it, and like he gave him here, and to the location, and it's like, wow, how is it that you didn't realize that those drawings were locations of this, like the ground where he buries his victims, right?
Hmm.
It was just so funny, and it's like, oh my god. Oh, I don't know if you've seen like the thing that was training about this film was Venom in the Wave party. Wait,
Okay, yeah, I've seen
yeah.
clips.
It was funny. It was really funny. There was this is where you had to turn off your head because he jumps to body. In the first film, they made this very clear that if the symbiote doesn't connect with the host dies after
Mm.
the symbiote doesn't connect with that host. And Venom does that to two people at least. And, and 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 they don't even address that, and like it's like really awkward. So I'm just letting you know that they don't even touch that in this film,
Okay.
like when Venom is in the other people's body. So it's
Yeah.
really weird. It's funny. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, the raid was funny, and and that's another thing that just convenient. You're in a wave, right? You think the music and sound will hurt Venom, and it's like it's such a good try.
Right. Hmm.
And it's just like, oh my god, yeah, it's funny. I love how everyone in that party doesn't realize he's an alien, and like he's a monster, and like
Hmm.
they think he's just a Halloween costume party. Oh my god. So yeah, that's Venom 2. Let there be Carnage, or let there be B level movie. Yeah, these movies are B level superhero films, which I mean, like I don't need an Oscar superhero film. Like I always want a action packed popcorn film
Hmm.
as well, but I just need it to be not sophisticated, but like just cohesive, and just like at least give me fun, and be respectful of the material. That's not what
Hmm.
you're gonna get with these two Venom films. So yeah. So yeah, well, I'm happy to give you all the reports of these two films, and
Yeah, I think.
just the madness of these films. Oh my god. And I cannot believe they're performing well at the box office. I don't understand that.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Like the first film, I'm like, it was China. For some reason China likes this film.
Hmm.
The first film, like I don't know, you've seen the marketing for China, like it's animated. It's like Venom holding a balloon. Like they made the film into this romantic comedy over there, and it's just totally madness. Oh my god.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. You have to check it out. It's
Yeah.
if you go to Tumblr and you see the marketing, just press Venom marketing in China, you will see what I'm talking about. But anyway,
Hmm.
um, yeah. This film was better than the first film, but it's just. I mean, if you like, I don't know, like, do you like the like? You say you are not familiar with symbiotes. Do you like Venom and Carnage?
Yeah, I think they could be interesting when done well.
Okay. Um, I will say they mistreat that in this film.
Yeah, no, I get the sense.
Like not
Trailers
badly.
and stuff.
Yeah, like they don't do it badly. It's just like it's there. Like if you want like a Killmonger Panther or like the Loki and Thor or like Joker Batman or like Magneto and Professor X level like villain hero relationship, you're not getting that, but like they tried to do it and like they tried to do that with Eddie and Cassie here, but it's not well developed, unfortunately. But Woody and Tom had chemistry, so at least I can say that they do have chemistry. But it's a very undeveloped hero and villain relationship. So so yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that's yeah. I was never a fan of Venom or Carnage villains. I mean, I think I prefer Carnage over Venom, but I just always feel like they should be with Spider-Man, not them out.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I just I mean, you could do it with Carnage because Carnage doesn't have like Venom needs the Spider-Man powers.
Yeah.
And I think you could do it. You don't need Carnage to be connected with Spider-Man. So I think, but I don't know. I just feel like there's something missing with them being in their own universe because it's just yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Venom 2. Go in your keep low expectations for this film. But you can have a laugh here and there, but no, it's nothing else. Yeah. Oh my god. When Shang-Chi is coming in Disney Plus, I'm gonna see it again, so I can just wipe this movie out of my mind. So and just really bizarre films that disturb me psychologically as well. Will anyway. So Will, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. And well, next week it's gonna be a podcast, so a different topic. Do you want to do Agents of Shield, like the first season one?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, we can do that, and then next few weeks we'll do other topics about Marvel related things or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get because we have like almost like a half month until until
Eternals, I think is.
Yeah, Eternals. So yeah, until Eternals come out in November, and then Hawkeye.
Hawkeye in late November. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. So we're getting into the fun part of podcast, choosing other topics, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, buddy, for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And thank you guys for listening to this spectacular podcast of What If and Venom 2 spoiler talk. Me and Will be back next week for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 spoiler talk. Just hit the subscribe button and see you guys soon. Bye.